Welcome to Transforming and Thriving
with best friends Brooke, Stacie, and Neelia.
Podcast dedicated to women sharing their inspirational stories. Hey there, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Stacie.
And I'm Neelia. And today we have the pleasure of welcoming to the show Anne Michelle Francis, whose journey of profound transformation began after some life-changing events, followed by the death of her best friend. Through intentional healing and self-discovery, she reinvented herself as a successful, fearless, innovative entrepreneur, finding strength not only just from the weight room, but carefully cultivating her circle of five by surrounding herself by strong mentors who both supported and challenged her. Anne Michelle's greatest purpose lies in empowering her children, pursuing their passion, showing them firsthand that with dedication and support, no dream is too big.
Thank you so much for being here, Anne Michelle. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for the introduction. I have never spoken on this level about these kind of things, so I'm really excited to be able to do that with you guys.
Yeah, well, we're really excited to have you here. And I know from what Neelia shared in your intro, it sounds like you've gone through some major transitions and losses in your life. Is there one in particular that you would like to highlight today and share that may have marked somewhat of a before and after in your life?
You know, the year 2020, while that was a struggle and COVID and all of the things that happened in 2020, I would say 2023 was actually the year that my life changed dramatically from the outside in, the inside out. I experienced some loss with some really major people in my life, specifically men in my life. And it really culminated with the passing of my best friend from high school. And he passed away that November. And it resulted in me adopting his dog. So while I have his dog that is now living on in our family, it was a tremendous loss throughout that year that really made me take a double take on my life, on everything, and really start to change.
Wow, that sounds like an incredible amount of loss and change in a very short period of time. So, I guess during those low points, how did you find strength to move through darkness and persevere?
Such a good question. Initially, when one of the first things happened to me that year, I woke up actually that night. I had called a girlfriend. She came over. We drank a ridiculous amount of wine and went to some fantastic farm to table dinner. And I woke up the next morning feeling terrible. And I thought to myself, I have two ways that I can get through this. And I can either drink away the pain or I can stop drinking and focus on my fitness and my health. And so while my intention wasn't to quit drinking forever, it was just, I just don't feel like drinking at all because I want to be able to wake up in the morning, not have any fog. I just want to feel good and confident. So I don't have any excuses to not go to the gym. What started out as this little, I'm just going to work out at 6 a.m. really turned into an overhaul of my entire fitness life. I've always been pretty fit and top bar fitness classes and things like that, but cutting out alcohol completely and then showing up in the gym every day, starting with hot yoga classes and then learning how to paddleboard, doing a whole bunch of things, but really cutting out alcohol was the first step toward having just a lot of clarity and making the choice to feel the pain instead of trying to numb the pain. And that was the first step in 2023 that made me realize this healing process is going to be different.
Wow. That takes so much discipline and self-awareness and strength to make a decision like that and just have a complete pivot and have so many other habits that need to change. It's so easy to, fall back into those unhealthy habits, I think. And it's just incredible that you were able to take that experience and be like, okay, I have a decision now, and, make a decision based on your values and what's important to you and move forward with such ferocity. I think that is just very admirable. I'm wondering what happened after that for you.
Mm-hmm. So after that, I started doing hot yoga, and I'd really never loved hot yoga before. And I ended up finding this instructor that I adored. And then I became a follower and just took all of her classes, and I loved what yoga was doing for me. Then I was paddleboarding and I loved paddleboarding. And then through part of this process, I actually was enjoying not drinking so much. I'm actually almost 2 years of not drinking at all, not with the intention of needing to stop drinking, but just I don't even have a desire to bring it back into my life at this point. It's just not necessary. And so after cutting that out and adding more fitness and creating this more disciplined life, I came up with the idea that I wanted to become the person that I wanted to date myself. So I decided to make a list of qualities that I wanted in a partner. And then I decided to become all of them. So I wasn't necessarily in search or pursuit of a perfect person. Instead, I was becoming that person for myself. So I started with a list of 10 qualities that I wanted in a partner. And then it expanded to about 30 qualities that I wanted in a partner. And then I decided to take a year off of dating and become all of those things for myself. So an example is I always have dated athletic men. My ex-husband was athletic and my ex-boyfriend was athletic. And so I said, well, what if I become an athlete myself instead?
Mm.
And so
Love that.
so these qualities became my roadmap over this next year to decide how I was going to be that. And it's amazing what happens when you shift your mindset into not I want to be an athlete, but I am an athlete. So then when you approach everything and you say, I have all of the characteristics and habits of an athlete, I'm disciplined, I'm consistent, I show up, I lift heavy things, you start to become this person. And then you wake up one morning and look back and you say, wait a second, I am that person. And then people start identifying you. Oh, you've always been an athlete. I'm like, actually, it's only been a year that I've been an athlete, but you're right. I'm an athlete now. And I slowly saw myself becoming that in all of these different characteristics that I wanted to be. And it was not fast. I want to emphasize, I did not decide one day, I want to be an athlete. And the next day I was an athlete. This was showing up. And that's where the roadmap comes in. It was creating a plan, creating lots and lots of micro habits that became ultimate habits that turned into discipline that showed who I am, that preached to my character and my integrity, that then there's no question, of course, I'm an athlete. So that's how that was stage 2. So I think the first stage was no alcohol. Stage 2 was I was operating from a mind that was so clear that it was, okay, who do I want to become? Because I can be anyone.
I love that. And I love just the mindset that you had through that and the description of it being a roadmap that you created and that it, doesn't just happen overnight. We can't just wave our magic wand and be like, all right, now all of a sudden everything's going to be amazing and I'm going to be this new person. But actually believing those things and putting it out there and saying, I am, is such a powerful thing. That's so amazing. I would love to hear more of the qualities if you want to share any more. This is really interesting.
I'm glad that you asked because I actually pulled out the journal that I wrote it in back in June 2023, 10 qualities. And so the 10 that I have, and I have not looked at these since then. So integrity, athletic, motivated, loyal, compassionate, considerate, honest, spiritual, adventurous, confident, dependable, follow through, kind. So then it became more strong friend base, good relationship with parents and kids, not a people pleaser. This person would be the frosting on my cupcake. And then it became, well, I'm the cupcake. So this person needs to be so good that it just makes my life better and elevates it, which is the first time I've ever looked at a relationship that way. Someone who inspires me, which is a really big one, but also me becoming an inspiring person. So that's where it's this two-sided thing is I want someone to inspire me, but am I the person that will inspire him or inspire someone else? So working on becoming all of these things and also what that means to me, because what it means to me is different than what it may mean to you. And so figuring out what that meant. So then I created another list and it was, I need to do all of these things. And it was literally a 1 to 30 thing. And my problem with that actually was that I rushed that part. It was if I've created this list, because I love lists, this may surprise you, I'm very type A. But I love lists. And it was, okay, I'm going to do all of these things. I'm going to find my faith and spirit and I'm going to go to church. And I am going to build a successful business and all of these things that I'm going to do. And I did them, right? Checkbox. And I mean, I did that in 6 to 8 weeks because I know how to get things done. And I was not the evolved person yet, but in my mind, it was, I'm a new person. And it was actually so much slower in real life. And it hits you much later than you think. So even though I had this list, I had this roadmap, I knew how to get there, then I had to wait. And that is probably where the biggest lesson came in, was waiting for those things to come to fruition, for me to truly embody those things instead of just saying I am those things. And that's where a lot of manifestation comes in. And I don't want to necessarily say affirmations, but just I am these things. And that's where that roadmap comes in. It wasn't fast, even though I wanted it to be fast. I just wanted to get the to-do list done and be done with it. And it didn't work that way. I had to slowly get to that point.
I love that concept and idea because I'm a huge checklist fan, and I feel so accomplished when you can like put either that strike through or that check next to it that you're done. Like even if it's just something totally minimal to what comparative to what you're talking about, but like, oh, I need to like get the car washed. Check. It's like it feels like you've completed something. And I mean, the level of what you're talking about is completely different. And it's interesting. So not everyone loves lists and checklists and has maybe the strength or knowledge and courage that you might. What would be some encouragement or advice would you give them and key takeaways to here's what you need to do or that could help you?
Honestly, I think that I could learn the most from the people who do have the patience. Because like someone who sees me and says, "You're so disciplined, I can't be like that." It's, well, I also struggle to slow down. And so where they're embracing that and owning that, I want to learn from them. So there's always a reciprocal relationship in all of it. But what I have learned that has really become the theme over the last couple of years is to trust the timing of my life. Because I believe I'm an inspiring person. I I am generally a pretty persuasive person too. That's probably growing up from a divorced family and learning I needed to demand attention to get my dad's attention to get the things that I want. And so I'm pretty persuasive and can get the things that I want. So I have always trusted that I can get whatever I want. So it's definitely having the confidence, but also learning to take a step back and say, you know what? The things I
Mhm.
want may not actually be what's best for me. So, what happens if instead I change this part of my life and I stop rushing? I stop the checklist. I stop saying, this is what I want. And these are all the strategies and the steps to get there. And I say, what if I trust the timing of my life and I wait for it to come to me? And that's also been a big shift. I would say that that shift was more the last 6 months. So, about 12 months into the process, I realized I needed to let go. I need to let go of the control in the process, even though I was waiting at that point. And now over these last 6 to 9 months has been, I'm just going to trust the universe and trust what it's sending to me is right and the timing is right. And that again has been a major shift into just my overall calm and peace within. And I really feel like you can't feel intense gratitude unless you feel intense pain. And I went through so much pain and persevered and pushed through it for so long that I feel so much gratitude in the morning when I make my cup of coffee and pour it. And I sit here, and whether I'm in the sun or in my house, I know how much I love my coffee. And I saw this quote just yesterday: if you can't enjoy your cup of coffee, you won't enjoy the yacht. And it resonated so deeply because it's not about all of the other things. It's about right now, today, right here, what you have. Do you have gratitude for this? Because if not, it doesn't matter how much abundance you have. You won't see it as abundance. It's just the next thing. And so that's where the gratitude comes in, is I have felt so much pain, and to not feel any of that pain right now and to feel joy drinking my coffee. The only thing that can make me happier is if one of my children makes it for me and brings it to me. But otherwise, but otherwise, that is like being able to feel that on a regular basis, feeling gratitude for getting to the gym, feeling gratitude for my body being able to stretch. All day long, I feel that gratitude. And so I just feel this overwhelming joy on a regular basis. And it sounds so cheesy, but I don't need much anymore because I have wonderful kids and a wonderful relationship with them. And honestly, a wonderful relationship with myself.
I love that. And I so appreciate you sharing about just how it's been a process and these things take time, and really appreciating that you have to have experienced the opposite. You have to have experienced pain and heartache and loss to really enjoy and appreciate the moments of joy. And I love just your emphasis on gratitude and how important that is. I completely agree. And it just shifts everything when you can come from a mindset or an attitude of gratitude, and just really focus on the little things. I love that quote about the coffee and the yacht. You might have to share that again later so I can write it down. That's great. Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'm wondering if you have any additional advice or encouragement for listeners who can relate to maybe some of the pain and the experiences of loss that you've gone through. Maybe imagine a listener is going through something like that right now. What would you say that might be
Sure.
helpful?
Sure. So I'm going to equate it to 4 breakups with really important men that I had that particular year. And so while they weren't necessarily breakups, it may have been family members or ex-spouse or things like that. There were 4 really pivotal moments that happened that year, including the loss of my best friend, where there was just like this severing and cutting me open whole over and over again and feeling like this is not going to get better. And I could go onto separate podcasts for each one of those 4 debilitating experiences. But instead, I want to focus on, I do want to mention how bad the hurt was. I want to mention that there was a checklist for each one, which was, okay, here's how I'm going to get through this. And I'm going to do all the things I don't want to do, which is a really big
Yeah.
part of it. You have to just keep showing up, even
Yeah.
when you don't want to. And for me, it was creating little deliverables every day. One was not drinking. One was going to the gym. One was, I even had a calendar I put on my wall at one point, and I would put an X mark for every day that I made it. And it sounds so lame, but I would put a red X. One more day that I made it. And it wasn't that there was any risk of me not making it, but it just felt like this level of accomplishment, like I did it. And then I started setting goals for myself that made no sense. I decided that, well, they do now, but I set these goals like, I want to do a freestand handstand in the center of the room, and I think I can do one in 6 months.
That's
Well,
amazing.
yeah, I can't, and I work on them 5 times a week, and I have for 15 months, and I am floating about 5 seconds off of a wall at this point. So, and it's not until you start doing these things that you realize, wow, this is really hard. It took me 6 months just to be willing to get upside down because of how scared I was about just being inverted.
Mm.
And so you create these goals that then, I don't want to say they distract you, because again, I'm not focused on getting rid of the pain, but it was, you create these goals and say like, can I do it? And then when you start doing it, it's a whole different level of satisfaction because you realize if I can do this, I can do anything. And so 2024 January, I hired a personal trainer who became a life coach. He became just a wonderful, wonderful, influential man in my life who I adore. And he was showing up for me. And 2 days a week, we were lifting together. And I now lift 5 days a week. And within 3 months, I had my first pull up. And within 5 months, I had 3 pull ups. Now I have 9 pull ups. And when you can do a pull up, it's like you can do anything, literally. I'm hip thrusting hundreds of pounds, like almost 400 pounds, and I'm deadlifting and I'm doing things that I didn't know that my 46-year-old body was capable of. And so 5 days a week, I now have this community in a gym where it's everyone's cheering each other on. And it's tremendously empowering to be around other people who also probably don't drink, who also wake up at 5 and go to bed at 8. And you realize that my, what in quotations is a boring life, is actually a really fulfilling, awesome life during the day when there are daylight hours.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm sleeping. So it was having those goals helped me get through a lot of the painful things. Also, self-care not being shopping, brunch, and mimosas, and instead seeing self-care as jumping in the ocean when I didn't want to. There were mornings I would wake up and be thinking about things I didn't want to think about. And so I made a commitment to myself. Anytime I linger in bed longer than 10 or 15 minutes thinking, I have to go jump in the ocean. So it would prevent me from doing that because I hate jumping in the ocean. It's so cold. But if I did and I was in bed for an hour, I was like, oh, I'm going to cold plunge. So I would go jump in the ocean. It's just a couple blocks from my house. I'm in Santa Cruz. So I would set things like that in order to make me move and in order to make me be motivated to do things. I mean, for 9 months, I couldn't listen to any music at all. So I would only listen to podcasts. And so I was just trying to better myself and provide more education. But at the end of the day, there was no fast track to getting over or healing from any of it. I had to dig in it and I had to dig through it. And I did not, if I felt pain, I would tell the kids, I am closing the door. Mom's healing. And I would shut the door. And then if anyone was asking, where's mom's? Oh, mom's healing. And no one would bother me. And they got used to me having candles and used to me taking baths and all of these things that I knew were self-care in quotations, but didn't really ever do before that, because to me, I did. I thought self-care was, lunch with your friends and shopping. And most importantly, I had to learn to be alone and look forward to being alone and want to be alone. And so that was really hard. That took over a year for me to want to be willing to be alone and look forward to being alone. And now on the weekends that I don't have my kids, I don't make any plans. And if plans happen, then that's fine. I'll go and do them, but I don't make any plans and I just embrace being alone. And that's a true indicator of have I become this person that I would want to date? And I have, because I'm willing and I look forward to being alone with me. And as an extrovert, I would rather be with a bunch of people all day long. And so, but I also really enjoy being with me too.
Well, I am so proud of you because I know that probably took a ton of dedication, time, like you said, and gosh, courage, because I know there's a lot of people that do the same. They don't want to be alone. They're afraid of being alone, and they constantly fill that time or void, and they want to fill it with something, whether it's like, oh, I'll go get my nails done and I'll do this and I'll do that. And it's just like, and it's like they're constantly frazzled. So I commend you for being able to also, like you said, you went through it instead of like over it or around it or under it. It's like you had to move through it and it went through a process. We don't all have it figured out. So I really like all the tools that you shared, your roadmap, your calendar. I would love to see what your wall looks like, especially with all your lists. I mean, it sounds pretty amazing. And I would love to hear more from you, and I think a lot of others would as well. I wonder if you would like to share something where people can reach out to you or learn more about you or from you, and maybe some of how they can connect with you. We'll put them in our show notes so that they can connect to your link tree and your website. But I would love to hear from you what you would like to share.
Yeah, I would say my passion has always been is raising 4 entrepreneurial kids and letting them follow their passions. And I've been doing that through homeschooling and really ping-ponging off of each other so that all of us are constantly learning from each other and pushing each other more. And so my children and I have started a podcast actually because they wanted to start it. So I'm just the host, and my little social media gurus are the ones that are doing all the production behind it. So one of my kids is a YouTuber who just got monetized and has over 100,000 followers on his Lego stop motion channel. And so he's handling the graphics and the YouTube uploading and the intro song. My 20-year-old is actually a TikToker and has over 230,000 followers on her account. And so she's handling the TikTok edits. And those are the 2 kids that wanted to help me do this. One of my kids said absolutely no, but the podcast will be called Listen to Your Mom. And it was named by my 14-year-old. And they chose that name because as much as they resist everything mom says, they are realizing that mom is usually right. And so we have our podcast that's coming out. We haven't released our first episode yet, but we have been filming. And so I'm curious to see how they're going to keep on growing that. In addition to that, my website, my personal website, has all the information about me, other podcasts I've been on, the business that I run, the Facebook group I manage for landlords, my investment experience, things like that, because I have a whole other professional side to me as well. So that is anne-michelle.com. So it's ANNE-MICHELLE.com. And on social media, I am on Instagram at The Real Anne Michelle.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it's just been awesome to speak with you today. We appreciate your time and all the tools that you shared. I know I will definitely be using that. I need to go get a calendar today and start working on those pull-ups.
Let's
Yeah.
go. I absolutely love I have such a passion for teaching women, especially women in our 40s and over, the importance of being really strong and not really skinny. And so this is something that I've grown up with in terms of just the skinny mentality, and instead strength is something that is going to carry us now and into the future. I know that I have a solid 55 years left ahead of me, and I want to go into it as strong as possible. So as many women as I can convert over to let's be strong together and get our first pull up, like I'm in.
Love it.
I love, love, love that. I love the strong versus skinny. That is such an amazing and important mind shift to have. And I'm definitely going to be following you as well. And I can't wait to hear your podcast when it comes out.
I know, that's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
To all of our listeners, thank you for joining us on this episode of Transforming and Thriving. We'll be back every other Monday with more inspiring stories. Please follow us on your favorite podcast app and follow us on Instagram so you can be a part of this community and stay up to date with each episode. Feel free to leave a review so that we can get your valuable feedback and other people can find these powerful stories. We're all in this crazy life together, so let's move through it together. See you there.